listening to the Play to Win podcast.
Welcome to Play to Win, the podcast from Podcast Village in Washington, D.C. I'm Adam Epstein, and I'm officially back in on the NBA. That's all it took. An unbelievable fourth quarter of the All-Star game. The guys actually played defense. In Kobe Bryant's honor, that's exactly what he would have wanted. The last few years, I can't stand the 120, 130 points games. They actually slapped the floor, played defense. Kyle Lowry's diving all over the place. Giannis Antetokounmpo block LeBron James at the rim. That's what I needed. I'm all back in on the NBA. I'm Adam Epstein, and I'm joined by Bryan Lawrence and Joey DeRosa.
Joey, are you all in on the NBA?
I was surprised at how well Giannis's team did. Everybody after that draft was just saying LeBron owned him. It was super close. It was impressive. I'm not all in on the NBA. I don't think I'll ever be all in on the NBA, but that was an impressive game.
Let's kick things off with Dude Food. Where are the guys from Play to Win munching on late night? Where are we taking our girls? This week's theme is the best of seafood. Brian's licking his fingers over there.
Please stop.
I mean, I love it. You know, and what makes me most excited, especially when it's about to get nice out, I like to get on a boat, go out, fish from my own perch, gut it, gill it, whatever you gotta do, and then fry it up on a skillet. It's delicious. I'm not out there like hunting boars and horses and cows. You know, so it's fun to actually like. That may be my most manly trait.
I'm in complete agreement about getting on a boat, fishing, getting it. So my buddy Joey has a boat. We go out, we catch whitefish, and I turn those into tacos, fish tacos, Adam. Are you a big fish taco guy?
I'm not. I like to get my seafood at a restaurant. I'm not making it myself. And my top three are mussels number 1, crab cakes number 2, and lobster bisque number 3.
Mussels, you're not cooking those at your apartment, are you?
I have actually bought a bag and steamed them myself.
How did that turn out?
They were very rubbery. But I still punished the whole bag.
My wife has a blog at Keys to the Cucina. She has like at least 5 mussel recipes. Check them out. But typically I like to have it with like the bacon sauce. I'm dipping my French fries in there. I love mussels too, but crab cakes and lobster bisque, that just seems so random. Who needs like all these components? Don't you just like to eat like scallops or crab legs or shrimp? Or
I don't like to, break the crab leg myself. I'm actually not a fan.
So get the Alaskan crab legs. The meat's worth it. You get the butter sauce. But speaking of butter sauce, boys, that's a nice little alliteration there. Lobster. You can have it in the tail with some butter sauce. You can have it on the side of a steak, little surf and turf, more butter sauce. I like butter sauce. I know you guys do too. And I'm all in on lobster.
I'm calling you out for lying. You can't look like that and like butter sauce.
Dude, just go for a run.
Do you break? Just that's it. Just go run.
Just one run. No.
Do you break the back off and take your finger and like smear it all around its like?
Don't they have like special forks so you don't have to use your grimy finger?
Oh, I'm getting all in there, brother.
You got to clean your nails after.
So
but that is you don't just need the tail. You would eat the whole lobster if put in front of you.
If in front of me, yes, absolutely.
You know, the first time I had seafood was with you.
Was it at Dewey?
It was at Dewey. We've talked about it a couple times. We don't need to get into it again. But yes, at a seafood buffet, and I crushed.
Guess who had Alaskan crab legs at the Rusty Rudder?
Yeah, you did.
It was Rusty.
Now it's time for Netflix. What are the guys from Play to Win watching on Hulu, Amazon, Apple Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix? Brian, you wanted an HBO callbacks episode.
I did, because recently, we talked about HBO and I talked about all the stuff airing right now, and I left off High Maintenance, which is one of my favorite shows. It depicts New York City perfectly. It's about a guy who rides his bike around selling pot to all different types of people, and it just kind of it gives you the warm and fuzzies, just the way you're connecting with your dealer. All of a sudden, he's a therapist, he's a best friend, he's a brother. He finds a dog, names him FOMO. I love everything about it. The season has been awesome so far. So check out High Maintenance.
Brian, I can't relate. So I've been catching up on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Joey, the latest bit in 2020, apparently you can't ask people their weight because Jeff on the show says my weight is between myself and my God.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a problem with people asking my weight, so I tell them if they ask.
Oh, how much do you weigh?
I weigh 155 pounds, and I fluctuate between 158 and 155.
I'm so sure you fluctuate.
I know. What is that? When you do eat tacos and when you don't?
I yo-yo. And that was a term on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I heard it and I was like, yeah, I legit yo-yo.
So was it ever acceptable to ask someone how much they weigh?
I thought you could always ask guys how much they weigh.
Guys, I think you can ask women. I don't think you can do that.
Apparently, in the show, you can't even ask guys.
My callback here, Adam, Bryan, Lost in Space on Netflix. I finally checked out the first episode. I'm hooked.
I'm in.
I'm ready. I'm excited. Has a nice how it started. Family. They're on a spaceship or whatever they call it.
Probably one of the most exciting intros to a show I've ever seen.
It was. I mean, they're just playing Go Fish, and then something just decides to happen. their ship crashes and on the one thing that threw me off though, how were they so warm on this frozen snow infested like Earth kind of thing?
The technology in their suits.
But like they had their helmets off and their hair, and I wasn't even seeing the breath.
Don't dive too deep.
I dove too deep.
It's a Netflix show.
I didn't dive as deep as their daughter. Know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Episode 1.
What the show does really well is it throws back well. So it'll be showing 3 different kind of timelines at the same time, and it's never really that confusing. It's a must watch. All of our listeners got to check it out.
Joey, by next week, I want you to be 3 episodes deep.
I'll give you 4.
Joey, by next week, I want the whole first season.
I'll give you both.
Next up, it's Guy Crush, Girl Crush. It's a show we do live for an audience. We bring people up, they love it, and we brought it to the studio as well. Today, it's comedians. Adam, kick us off.
I'm going with Dave Chappelle, the king of sketch comedy. Everything that Key and Peele did for their show that's been successful, they stole from Dave Chappelle while he was hanging out in Africa in the safari with millions and millions of dollars. Dave Chappelle, everything he puts out on Netflix is fire. Sticks and Stones is the most recent one, and it's hilarious. And you know what I like the best about it is he doesn't even have to tell jokes. He just tells stories and talks about common sense and like real issues that are going on in the world.
Yeah, that'll fade into my guy crush, and we'll get there. But I do like Dave Chappelle because the story part about it is something that is unique to comedians. You don't really hear that part. It's just like, oh, hey, we're going to do a joke here. We're going to do a joke here that lands. The sketch comedy with the Charlie Murphy on the Dave Chappelle show and with Rick James was just so good, Brian.
Yeah, but what's really interesting in my perspective is that the reason why he can be a good storyteller is because he's like a Tiger Woods or a Kobe Bryant. He gets to go wherever he wants to. He can experience whatever he wants to, and then he keeps it real and like lives in like some country home in Ohio. You know, the guy just has a perspective that's interesting, and that's why he can tell a story.
So my guy crush this week, guys, is John Mulaney. He has a couple specials out on Netflix. I was recommended and to watch one of his specials, New Kid in Town, by my friend Sarah Wickheiser, and it is hilarious. He has the same kind of temperament as Dave Chappelle. Not as good, obviously, but he tells stories, and he has this one story about high school that's really, really something special, and I just laughed on the floor. It was so funny, Brian.
You kind of look like him.
Oh, thank you.
I actually don't think so at all. Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, they're both
John
like...
Mulaney's pale as hell, and he's got like weird hair. He's got a swoop. I like that swoop.
He has no facial hair.
They kind of have similar hair.
Maybe his character in Big Mouth looks like Joey.
But I'm not a big fan. Like, I think he's like, he almost just comes off as like a prick. He almost just comes off conceited the whole time. Like, I don't know if I like his shtick.
I wasn't a big fan of his TV show, but again, I've enjoyed him in some other things. My girl crush this week is Natasha Leggero. She's an older woman, she's sexy, and she's funny. Guys, this is how I first found out about her. She was in a roast, and out of the nowhere, Snoop Dogg says, "Hey, Natasha, you ever black?" And her reaction, she played it off like it was she was so good, and that's how I knew she was a good comedian, because then she went up and roasted the hell out of Snoop Dogg.
So is the only thing she does is roasts?
No, she's done stand-up. She's very professional and very successful, Joey. I'm sorry you haven't heard of her.
Not yet, Brian.
No, I mean, there's no question that that's not the best celebrity right now. You're crushing on her.
She's so hot.
But
there's an older lady theme with you here, Adam.
Ali Wong.
Not as old as you've gone.
Yeah, I know. What kind of point is that?
Come on.
Ali Wong is my girl crush. She made pregnancy look hot. Like, I don't know if that's acceptable to say, but, she did a stand-up special while pregnant, and she was vulgar on stage, talking about having sex while pregnant, farting, all sorts of stuff, and I just ate it all up. Always Be My Maybe is one of my favorite movies of 2019. It's just like, you know what it does? It brings us all back to our childhood. We all probably have that one person where it's like, we tried to keep them in our back pocket. If we didn't hit higher, we could fall back on them. Do you have that in your...
That's every single girl I've ever talked to in my life.
Oh, man.
Brian, the only reason you like Ali Wong, though, is because your wife Alex put you on.
She did put me on. Already, she doesn't love TV. I'm actually slowly taking channels away from her. No more Food Network, no more Bravo. We can cut that out.
I love the Food Network. She's a great cook. Why don't you want her looking up and chefing up some nice recipes?
Because now everyone just finds everything they need on their phone. You don't need to pay for all these different channels we never watch. The truth is, I control the remote.
Let's move on to Player of the Week, an athlete who's just crushing it on the field, the pitch, or the court. I'm going with Rashad Ross of the DC Defenders in the XFL. Absolute dominant. The team is undefeated, and every game he's going deep, Joey.
The DC Defenders are not losing this season, Adam. Rashad Ross and Cardale Jones Jones are going to lead this team to the promised land. They don't have a name for the Super Bowl of the XFL yet, but I'm excited. We're going to be champs.
The only thing better than the team is the crowd. Did you see that beer snake? They went viral with it all weekend, and the best part, they recycled.
The cup snake is something that I love seeing at any sporting event, and since that happened at the DC Defenders game, I bet you moving forward at other stadiums, and especially down at Audi Field moving forward, they're going to have it, and it's going to get bigger, longer, faster.
And so they're just collecting used cups and putting them together?
Yeah, my boy Ian, who watches this show, put 6 cups into that snake. He went hard.
Are you telling me that this is a DC thing, or did they pick it up from somewhere else? Because I personally haven't seen the cup snake before.
No, cup snakes has been big.
I mean, we used to do that at VCU and went for day parties, darties, ragers, day keggers.
Oh, you drink? So no. So my player of the week, guys, is actually multiple people. So it's crazy, right?
Bryan, why do we set rules if we let them break them?
I don't know. You're the one allowing him to come into the booth. You know, soon we got to get Rob Ford to escort him out.
I appreciate you guys keeping me here. Rob, please don't rough me up. No, so what we're going to have here is any of the MLB players that have spoken out, basically Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Mike Clevenger, Trevor Bauer, the list goes on and on and on. Kurt Suzuki from our hometown Washington Nationals. They continue to speak out and say how Rob Manfred and everything that he's done with the Houston Astros scandal has been trash. It's a slap on the wrist. He called the World Series trophy a clunk of metal. What the hell?
It's so annoying, and I hate Carlos Correa trying to still stick up for his teammate, talking about how Jose Altuve is the only one that didn't wear a buzzer. So you just threw your entire rest of your team under the bus, to make up for the small guy.
It made no sense because everything with Altuve was about how his wife didn't want to have him rip his shirt off. And then Correa's like, oh, it's about a tattoo that wasn't finished. So, you guys just continue to lie. Anytime they open their mouths, they just dig themselves deeper and deeper. And these players are going to get hit more and more this season.
This is why you don't lie. Because as soon as you lie, now you're unfolding all this craziness. He's getting mad to the point where he's legitimately telling a player to shut the F up. I'm like, you all are losing it. Their media day was god-awful. Who handled that?
Right, they put Dusty Baker up there the whole time. He wasn't part of the team.
Felt so bad for him. And Alex Bregman and Altuve, they speak up there for 90 seconds. They had to have a piece of paper to basically say, I am sorry.
And they didn't even apologize.
They're just a robot just reading something that they were told to do.
And they're not sorry. They're only sorry they got caught.
Exactly.
Let's bring it back to the court. A team that's actually playing right now, not XFL or you're a million players speaking out about the Astros. I'm talking about Fairfax finest, Trevor Keels, out of Paul VI, 15th, top 15th best guard in the entire country, just beat DeMatha, balling out, can go to whatever school he wants. Virginia Tech on Joey's chest, to Duke, to Maryland. He's getting offers from them all.
And didn't he ball out against LeBron and Dwayne Wade's kid?
Beat him. Paul VI is just a gem that we have really close to home if you want to go watch potential future NBA players play.
Play to Win is proudly presented by Pamplona, located in the heart of Clarendon, Virginia. I'm there every Friday and Saturday night slurping up that sangria.
I love a handmade cocktail. And sometimes they put real love into it. If it's Christmas, they got a Christmas cocktail. If it's Halloween, they got something spooky. I love their themes. Check out their Instagram for all their pics.
Shout out to Walker, the best bartender in the DMV.
Wait, why are you laughing at me?
Spooky drink. What's happening? Is it illuminating? Is it smoking?
Actually, they do have a little smoke element to their beverage.
I don't
It's
hate that.
out of a skull cup too, I believe, last Halloween.
Ooh, skull.
We were actually there together on Halloween.
Yeah, I know we were. Now it's time for the newest segment on the show, Adult Accidents. We're all adults in the room here. We're all living on our own, but some of us are up. Bryan?
I got dad brain. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. I don't sleep. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me. Rob Ford needs to bring his makeup in here and get me touched up because I'm looking rough. Why? Because I don't sleep. And when you don't sleep, you make mistakes. Recently, I've been leaving my $1,000 stroller everywhere.
$1,000 stroller?
You typically, you know what you do. You take your kid out of the stroller, you put him in his car seat, you break the stroller down, you pop up the trunk, you put it in. I'm just eliminating that process and driving right off. So one time my wife's like, yo, where is the stroller? And I was like, I looked around, I'm like, please be in the trunk. Run to my car, not in the trunk. And I'm like, oh, smack. It's at the Natural History Museum. 7 hours later, I drive back. It's still sitting there glowing. It's like chrome. It's like chromed out. I tricked out my stroller.
You got your kid a whip.
and I was upset. I almost had to use my insurance to try to get me a new stroller.
You got insurance on the stroller.
As I leave, yeah, of course. Do you have renter's insurance, Adam?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't have it in college, but I got it after. That's
You
for
should
sure.
get renter's insurance for situations like this. If things are stolen or something happens.
My accident came a few months ago when my boy Mike and I were playing Madden. Heated game, fourth quarter. I go to the bathroom, use the restroom, wash my hands, come back, win the game. Then Mike goes to use the restroom 15 minutes later and walks into a puddle of water. Yeah, that's right. I forgot to turn off my sink and it flooded my bathroom and into the living room, and my roommate still hates me for it.
I'm excited that you're washing your hands after you go to the bathroom, Adam, but why is your sink flooding after 15 minutes of water running?
How many loogies are building up in your pipes?
It's this hair. It's this beard right
yeah,
here,
because
man.
nobody else shaves in their sink. Everyone shaves in their sink.
I think here's what's gonna have to happen. It's a little preface, it's a little pre right here. My adult accident was my sink clogged in my kitchen. You're gonna have me come over because
What are you guys doing in your sinks?
Plumber Joey over here decided to fix his sink. It took like 4 days, but here's my adult accident, guys. Here's what happened. Boiling water apparently was something that I read on Google that would help a sink that is clogged. So I did the Drano, I did the snake, and I started putting in water, and I could see the bubbles, but the sink wasn't flowing as nice as it should. So I kept doing the hot water because I didn't want to do the snake anymore. I'd taken the pipes off so many times. I was like, I'm just exhausted. Let me just do this more and more. I went to bed. I come back the next morning, wake up at 6:30, and I look. Oh, my stove's still on, just red hot. Adam, I could have burned my house down.
You're lucky you didn't have a gas stove because your house would have exploded.
And I wouldn't be here right now giving these hot takes.
Well, it's, there could have been something laying close, or there could have been some old food. You could have actually started a fire.
Luckily, I keep my stove clean.
That's a big accident, and that's what we want in adult accidents. If you've got any, you can always tweet us at P2W Radio. Now it's time for winner of the week, an athlete, a celebrity, maybe a public figure, or a guest we've had on the show. This week we're talking about breaking news, and no one breaks news more than Adam Schefter. You're our winner of the week.
From about here for the next 2 months, I'm going to be refreshing his Twitter feed over and over again, waiting to see who the Redskins cut, waiting to see who we pick up, and if there's any draft day trades. I mean, we have the second pick in the draft. You know our name is going to be thrown out there, and you know that Adam Schefter is going to have all the facts first.
And the biggest news about Adam Schefter this week was the playoff format, the new CBA agreement, where they're adding an extra game to have 17, and they're adding an extra team to the playoffs, which makes 7, so two AFC and NFC, 14 teams. There's 30 teams in the league. You're diluting the product. And I don't think that an 8 and 9 team now, Adam, should get into the playoffs.
As a Redskins fan, we need that back door to get into the wild card on the last week of this season. The one thing I don't like, though, is the 17 games. What are we, just wiping the slate clean here in 2020? I love the 8 and 8. I like the symmetry of 14 and 2.
2020, we're not seeing clearly here, and they're just splitting everything up, Adam.
For Joey DeRosa, Bryan Lawrence, I'm Adam Epstein. Play to win.
Hit subscribe. Down here, the little button, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Game winners who choke, interviews with the coach, and anonymous quotes, winning records who lose, and all-star snubs to